I'd like to call the regularly scheduled meeting of the Library Board of Trustees for the City of Spokane to order. If there's a sign-up sheet for visitors, and if anybody would like to sign up for public comment, there's also a sheet for that. And then I'll start with our land acknowledgement. All of the Spokane Public Library buildings sit on the traditional homelands of the 4 bands of Indians of the Spokane tribe. Sorry, Spokane tribe of Indians. Upper band, middle band, lower band, and Chuleta band. Since time immemorial, Spokane tribe of Indians has lived and cared for these grounds, identifying themselves as flesh of the earth. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. We show gratitude to the land, river, and peoples who have been fishing, hunting, harvesting, and gathering here for generations. May we learn from one another's stories so that we may nurture the relationship of the people of the Spokane tribe and to all those who share this land. All right. Are there any agenda changes that we need to look at? All right, hearing none, we'll treat the agenda as adopted. And now we have approval of the March 19th board minutes.
We do have one change.
Okay.
We pretended that Lisa Cox was present and she was not.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as edited. So moved. Can I get a second? Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Oh, and I am remiss in not introducing our new board member. So sorry, Margie. Margie Markill. Mari. So welcome aboard. We're very happy to have you. Apologies for not doing that right every time. It was just busy getting going. That's right. We got a meeting coming after. We got to go fast. So, all right. Back to the agenda. The next item we have is approval of the March 2024 bills and contributions.
I move to approve the March bills and contributions in the amount of $1,144,025 or $144.25.18.
A second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. And now we're ready for the financial report with Nicole.
Thank you very much. Before I begin, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Cool, thank you much. Okay, so starting off with the March 2024 for library operations for our cash and investments trend. So by the close of March, we had the ability to pay 125 days of operating costs in available cash and investments. As a reminder, 1 day of operating costs for the current year is $38,345. So our current the balance of the cash and investments is $6,220,764. That does include over $1.4 million for reserve for capital and is net of our encumbrance balance of about $129,000. For the operations expenditure trend, March operations expenses were $1,125,212, and 66%, or about $742,000 of that amount, was for personnel costs. Our library books and materials costs were $105,336. We did pay annual fees for kiosk and book return, a service agreement with MK Solutions, and printing station software. Those software and licenses and service agreement totaled $90,125. Our utility costs totaled $67,961. Most of that does actually include two months worth of utilities for Central. We did receive the February bill very late from Vista on that one. And then our third-party security guard costs, those totaled $37,113. And then we had interfund charges, which were just for fuel and IT for $86,18. Is there any questions on the operations side of things before I move on to bond?
Okay, we're ready for the bond.
Hearing none, thank you much. Okay, so for the bond update, not a big update this month. As you know, we haven't started construction yet, so we're ready to break ground soon. So projects spent by site, here's a little snapshot. As of the end of March, the remaining encumbrance balance does tie to our cash. The current encumbrance balance as of the March close was $1,891,892. So hopefully we will have that spent by the end of this year, or have some retainage roll into next year, depending on how some of those projects go. But we're just ironing out that stuff right now, and we'll be breaking ground soon. And then our public works snapshot shown here also through March, with a total of 63 public works projects. Currently, we have eight that are active. Of course, most of that is Nevada and the kiosks. And then for business office updates. So recently, some of the central branch staff did undergo a transition of moving offices and workstations. So now all of our business office staff are now located in one large office, all four of us together. That's on the third floor in the admin hall, and it's been really beneficial and very healthy for the mental state of our team, as well as other staff. They have one central location that they can come access and ask us questions. So are there any questions for me?
Do you anticipate that there'll be any additional public works projects opened as we are
No.
looking to pay out that encumbrance?
No.
No. Any other questions for Nicole? All right, thank you, Nicole.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and the next agenda item is the chairman's report, and there is the chairman's report. And so we move on to the library executive director report.
All right, I have submitted a written report. Go over a few of the highlights. As far as community outreach goes, with the levy now passing, thankfully, and bond work really wrapping up and coming to a close, and as well as our strategic plan coming to an end at the end of 2025, I have re-upped engaging with the public, especially leaders of organizations that we should be in partnership or at least in conversation with. So that's been a really great thing for me to getting out there and having those conversations. I've met with leaders from the Boys and Girls Club, Spokane Arts, Spectrum Center, YMCA, and the Spokane Workforce Council. So hopefully we can not only just be re-engaging, but also listen to how these organizations are either struggling or being successful as they're also coming out of pandemic and trying to figure out what services to the community. So I'll continue to do that. And if there's any suggestions for folks in the community that I should be reaching out to, please send them my way. Happy to meet up with them alone, or if you want to come along too, happy to do that as well. As far as our DEI work, our next book discussion will be in early May for staff, and it's we can't talk about that at work, which is how to talk about race, religion, politics, and other topics. And really, we're using that to continue to develop our skills around difficult conversations. Last week was Library Week, National Library Week. So we celebrated Library Staff Appreciation Day on April 8th. We did something a little bit different this year. We asked managers to create and write some handwritten notes to staff. We also distributed cakes throughout the system to celebrate the work we've done over the past year, which was really fun, I think. Our star spotlight for March went to Sophie, Kiki, and Abdul. They hosted a outreach event over at the Yokes Leta kiosk and saw over 250 families and individuals, not only creating awareness around the kiosk, but showing folks how to use it. And we are so happy to report that our in-house security team has done good work at Central. Their first day was yesterday. They're going through some orientation this week. So really welcoming Brian, Abraham, and Asia to the library team. We will have an agenda item later on today to add a fourth. As we looked at the costs, it makes sense for us to do that. And I continue to hold open office hours at all of our locations for staff to come and chat, discuss issues, ask questions. I do that on a monthly basis. And also, as far as City of Spokane goes, early budget discussions are happening between us and mayor's administration and city council. It's going to be a struggle this year to figure things out. There is a proposal from the mayor's office for a levy for $1 per thousand. That will help fix the gap that we see in revenue for public safety. So more details will be coming out about that. I think it's going to council in the next couple of weeks to possibly get something on the ballot for the August measure. Any questions for me?
Oh, I wanted to ask, are all of the security staff are new? I thought we had somebody who was already.
So we had a manager,
Yeah.
Derek. So he's been on staff since I think September, October. Both Brian and Abraham, we took from the contracted security firm, which may cause some stress in that relationship. However, they're really good security guards, and we wanted to maintain them, and they are aligned with our mission. So really good fit for the organization, as well as I think it's a good fit for them.
Any other questions for Andrew?
Have you guys done an outreach with the other kiosks like this?
Not like that,
Yeah,
no. But as we're doing the others, as we're opening up at the 5 Mile or
Yeah.
something like that, I can see us moving forward.
yeah. That's so fun.
With the, with Gonzaga's Family Haven, it's more of a contained community.
Yeah.
So didn't really call for something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that in the future as well.
Cool.
And we'll work on the 5 Mile kiosk. If all things go right, should see things happen next week.
All right. Thank you, Andrew. And next we have the council liaison report. Councilmember Dillon, I see you up there on the screen.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry I can't be there in person. I'm always wanting to. I'm hoping that this month is the month, but it's always sandwiched right between two meetings that we have neighborhood councils on Tuesdays at 6, and tonight we have 3 meeting on one night, which is just kind of incredible. So kind of bouncing around a little bit. And also tonight we have the 3rd meeting of our public safety community meetings that will be at the Liberty Park Library. And that I believe starts at 5 o'clock. Yeah, but I'll just be pretty brief and oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Starts at 6.
6, yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry. I need more
Oh, you're
coffee.
good.
I need more coffee. Yeah, I'll be pretty brief and just to kind of follow up on what Andrew was talking about at the end regarding public safety levy. There's been a lot of news around that. This really came out of some of the monthly budget discussions that we've been holding. Really appreciate Andrew being there. We have our joint sessions with council and cabinet, and really, I think, diving more into the structural deficit that we're facing. We know that this could be up to about $50 million, and the levy right now, there's still a lot more that is, I think, kind of coming together with the ask, but we know that we'll be looking at the April primary election, and really looking at some of the different buckets of where money will go. A large focus of it will be police and fire. There's also a big focus around kind of community resiliency. And so carving out some piece, one thing that's come out of the town halls has been safe streets. And I think at the last library board meeting that I spoke at, I talked a little bit about our traffic calming ordinance. So after some delay, we got that back up again. We did pass the last traffic calming resolution unanimously, so it passed 7-0, and we're really excited to see that. So this will be, as part of the levy, a potential look at a project for every neighborhood. And so it would be an addendum, or sorry, an added dedicated fund for capital projects in our neighborhoods, which I'm very passionate about and excited to see that get added to the proposal. So there's also just some kind of discussion and some sensitivity that's ongoing around the parks levy. What does that look like to possibly run both at the same time? Would parks be potentially delayed to either November or February? So just being very sensitive to that dynamic as well, and what we are asking voters to invest in. Just a couple other updates. I really want to thank, everyone, library staff, for helping us with the town hall around opioids that we had last Tuesday. This came out of a council resolution that passed unanimously to try and really think about ways to better our response around fentanyl and the opioid crisis. And so that includes better data reporting from the Spokane Regional Health District, trying to free up more resources to support our first responders. And we had a really great turnout. And then just on a kind of personal note, I was really fortunate to be able to participate in the recording at the Central Library with Emily Bardo, who's one of the featured speakers from the Get Lit Festival. And so seeing that kick off in this partnership with Spokane Public Radio is just absolutely fantastic and so cool to see. And again, I think just a really amazing I think example of all its different partners working together and really making our city look amazing. So that's kind of it for council updates. I guess one more other discussion that's been coming up is just ARPA funds, and so you'll see some more around this as well. The mayor put out a proposal to utilize some ARPA funds for kind of downtown cleanup, looking specifically around Second and Division, using some more resources for cleaning up graffiti, some of the vandalism that we've seen around downtown. Of course, this is one-time funds, but I think that it would be a good use. There's some funds that City Council still has that we're looking at clawing back for things that have just been slow to get out the door. There's a couple other neighborhood projects that we're still looking at investing in, but we have until the end of the year to spend some of these funds. Otherwise, they're expire and they go back to the federal government. So this seems like a good way to get them out the door and really invest in places where it's very much needed. So that's it for me, but happy to answer any questions.
Right, any questions for Councilman Bedoya? All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
making time for us.
Yeah.
All right, and now we have the communications report with Amanda.
Okay, hi. For Mari's benefit, I'll introduce myself and my team. I'm Amanda Donovan. I'm the Marketing Communications Director at the library.
And we have Skylar Noble and Alina Merkar and their marketing managers, and that comprises our team. So we do all the work we talk about here monthly at the meeting. So we sent out a press release following the Thrive partnership approval at the last board meeting and benefited from a lot of great press coverage. KXLY, KHQ, the spokesman, Angela Inlander all covered that story, and that was really good for us. We also began re-promoting events with City Cable 5, and they've filmed some really nice kind of canned intros using a few of our staff members, Alina, Sharma, Mason, kind of giving an intro of what's fun that's happening at the library, and then they can plug in different things each week. And that was some of our top performing social content last month. We kind of spur of the moment we got onto the March Madness and conducted a spur of the moment bracket on Instagram about Washington books and authors. And the winner of that was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. So that was kind of fun to do. Skylar did a great job doing our annual Library Giving Day campaign, which raised around $6,000.
Yeah, over $6,000.
Yeah, so, yeah, great job on that. And so that was through email and social media. Just a real nice, easy ask. You just have to click a button and give some money to the foundation, so. And then in front of you, you have our latest issue of Lilac City Local that is hot off the presses, has not been released yet. You guys have the first copies, but some of the stories in that, the cover image is a beautiful image by an illustrator who illustrated concepts of the expo prior to its building. So, and those are items from our archive. And then within the story, in the magazine, you'll also see some other of those illustrations by that same artist. And that's kind of a cool story. And there's some other really great stories in there as well that I hope you'll take a look at. And then let's see, our top visited web pages this past month, again, are often the location, Shadle Park Library and Central Library were 1 and 3. And then Research Tools A to Z is hanging out there at the top of our most visited web pages, which is really cool to see. Free yoga classes blog was also a top visited web page, as well as meeting room. So some surprises there, and also some standards that you see as our constant with our web traffic. And then, like I mentioned, we had 10 media mentions in the past month, and predominantly those were about Thrive, but we've also had continuing coverage of the Fabric Exchange. We had a journalist come out for Kaleidoscope Science, so some of our STEM programming. We're starting to get coverage of the book sale. So the book sale is coming up at the end of this month, and that's the Friends book sale, and that's at Shadle, the 25th through the 27th. And we're starting to get coverage of that as well in the media, and that's always really popular on social media because people get excited about that. And a little bit of coverage on Women's History Month and Earth Day as well. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Amanda. All right, now we have a programming report with Jason.
I'll be back here, I'll stand up. Hi, I'm Jason Johnson, the Community Engagement Manager. This month or last month, we had 402 total events, which is more than we've ever had, according to all the records that we've been keeping, which is still crazy. 4,357 people came. Did you see the values score, which is, it's been too much time explaining it. That's the way we measure the impact of our programs. It went down a bit, but that's explained by we've been recalibrating the tool, kind of talking to staff about how to interpret the questions. There's been some overinflated scores. So that's going to continue to go down. And in fact, we're cutting the tool in half, separating between youth and adults. So you need 2 different tools that they use. So this is probably the last month you'll see just the overall score alone. You see the youth and the kid or the adults in there too. We hosted a big event. The NAACP had a special town hall meeting that they asked us to host at Central Library. Discussing racism in schools, really centering around the Wilson Elementary newsletter that came out last month. Very highly attended, 156 people, very active conversation. If you want to watch some real tense moments, you can go and check our video out on YouTube. But it was really a great conversation. That was also the highest attended event for adults and overall for the month. And it became the highest value score event too, which usually doesn't happen. Usually the event with the highest value score isn't the highest attended, but this time it happened that way on youth and on the adult. So the youth highest attended event is the toddler play and learn story time. It had 84 people. Who was in this room? A lot. Music lessons, we had 73 music lessons this month, which is our highest we've had. And we have a second music educator, part-time music educator, Jason Perry, that's teaching, so it's helped us more than double the lessons we can offer. And that's really, other than what's in here, you can see the scores broken down here by each team on the second page in the chart. So, any questions?
And for Mari's benefit, we honed through this system, and other libraries that are in the state are looking at this as an example of how to really measure the impact and value of the programs that.
I did have questions about the score range, but since it's changing, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, and I could talk to you about it sometime as well,
Yeah.
so it's not here.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We had some previous statistics lessons with Jason.
Yeah.
But now it was scanned.
I'm gonna walk some baseball practice. I'll be right back.
Okay, so now we are on to new business, and the first item is staff day closure. Samantha.
Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Mari. I'm Samantha. I'm the Director of People and Culture, formerly known as HR. So our first request is just board approval for library closure for our all-day staff day on September 19th. Our regular hours that day are 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. All branches will be closed for all of our staff to get together and have our annual education and learning and team building together.
Right. Any questions about that? I entertain a motion to approve the staff day.
I move that we approve the library closures on September 19th.
Seconded.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. And the next item, also Samantha, all-day staff event partial closure, all staff event partial closures.
Yeah, so this one is for our biannual staff and family events. We do one in the summer, so June 7th this year, and one in the winter, December 6th. Our regular hours are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we're requesting an early 1 hour closure at 4 p.m. on this date.
Any questions about that? from anybody? All right, we'll get a motion.
I move to approve library closure times at 4 p.m. on June 7th and December 6th for the biannual staff and family events.
Yes. Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. And then we have another one with Samantha, the security guard FTE adoption.
All right, so as a little bit of background, as you know, we've been working with Securitas and have a good relationship with them. We plan to maintain this relationship at the Hive, Shadle Park, and here at the Liberty Park branch. Central, though, is experiencing a much different patron activity and has required us to employ more specialized security service that places an emphasis on our policies and our mission. This type of specialized need is not something we can fully or efficiently execute with completely contracted guards. So our 3 guards, as Andrew told you, came on board yesterday. And through the recruitment process, we recognized we can afford to shift some of the contracted funds planned for Securitas into an additional position that can bring that 4th guard in-house and form a more consistent and cohesive team, maintaining a security presence at Central instead of having a mix of both in-house and contracted guards. So we would like to add 1 additional security guard to our team as we continue to adapt our environment while providing new programs and enhanced services.
The library continues to strive to meet the desires and needs of our employees and the communities we serve by providing a safe and belonging environment. So also note that this FTE is within the library's reserved budget adjustment for budget capacity and does not require an emergency budget ordinance. So it would take our FTEs from 102.55 to 103.55.
I'd like to chime in really quick, just a side note on the budget comment. So we do currently plan, so if this is approved and adopted, we will use the current budget capacity that we have set aside for the third-party security guard services. That amount is 183,000 for the entire year. So we'll be moving about, let's see, just to confirm, a little over 70,000 of that budget. In the event that the services of the third-party security guards exceed that delta, there is still budget capacity in our reserve for budget adjustments. So this does not require a budget ordinance, regardless if we go over on the service side of things. So I just want to clarify that.
All right, any other questions for Samantha or Nicole?
I move that we approve adding 1 FTE for the security guard team, moving the FTE from 102.55 to 103.55.
All right, can we get a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you, Samantha. And now we have the special events coordinator overview with Kira. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kira Barker. We're gonna stand up. I'm Kira Barker, and I am the special events coordinator for the library, and so we're just gonna talk a little bit about what that means. So I've been with the library now for just over 6 months. On board at the beginning of October. I am based at the Hive, so I'm over there by myself a lot, but visit Central a couple of times a week, and I take care of events at all 7 of the branches. Outside of this, I have a lot of other roles. I have my own company, I'm Girl Scout leader, and all those other things that are on there. But typically every week for me looks like looking at what events come in from the patrons, and helping to get those scheduled with various areas.
Yes.
So special events at the library. These I have defined, and Samantha before me defined, as any patron-led events that require assistance from me. This can be for before or after our reservations. Before our reservations can only happen at Central or at the Hive, but after our reservations happen at all of the branches except Hilliard, because Hilliard's attached to the school. This is also at the 2 locations where our event rooms can be combined into larger rooms, so the Hive and Central. The walls can't be moved by the patrons, they have to be moved by us. Any events that require them paying for the use of the space, which is events where they are charging the guests, whether it's fundraising or donations or tithes or ticket fees or anything like that, they have to pay to use the space. Anything that's a private invitation only event. This might also include events where people are traveling from out of the area and want to use the library facility. And then any patron-led events that take place in a Weequahic Hall at Central, because that is an open space. We make sure that it's being guided by a library staff member. Usually special events do not include the other programming that is on our calendar. However, there are some events that we kind of turn into hybrid where the programming, I work with the programming team and we do events together where they're open to the public, they're on the calendar, but they are primarily patron-led. So there are some examples where that hybrid happens. My role is to help the customers who call me or email me about special events to figure out what space they need, what's going to work best for them, how they can fit in the space, and the times that are going to work for them. I also work with those special events customers to figure out how they're going to use the space and what timeline they need, because they are also responsible for setup and for cleanup. and any information that they need regarding the tech, how to use our equipment in each of the rooms, if they need access to microphones, all those sort of things go through me. As well as getting out any kind of signage, especially at Central. It's a very big building. If we have events happening in the event rooms on the first floor, or events on the third floor, I make sure there's signage pointing people in the right direction that is consistent with our brand logo and all of that. Work with these two a lot on that. And then, as I already mentioned, if an event needs to be charged, I take care of sending them invoices and contracts for that. And reporting that to the business office so that they can collect for those events. Also determining what fees those are. We have less expensive fees for our nonprofit organizations that want to hold events at the library, and commercial rates. And then I also, something that I've been trying to do since starting is work with our branch managers. And I'm part of the CXM meeting once a week. They have a lot they have to deal with patrons in person, and I don't at the Hive because you have to have a code to get into the building. And so if the spaces like this room are being misused in some way, if people are charging for events and not paying for it, or if they have damaged the room, or if they are abusing our policies, I have asked the CXMs if they choose to, they can pass that on to me so that I'll deal with that and they can deal with the everyday face-to-face stuff that they have to deal with. I don't mind being the bad guy when it comes to the event rooms, and I feel like it can help take a little bit off their plates. And then for the events, especially those in the hall at Central that require a facilitator on site, I am there for those. And if we also need a guard, especially for after hours events, then I arrange for those guards to be there. And I make sure that the space is cleaned up properly. So one of the things that we're promoting a lot right now are weddings at the library. A lot of people have no idea you can have a wedding at the library, and it's pretty fun to see people's reactions when they find out that option, particularly with the views of the waterfall from the third floor at Central. And so we've had a few there now. We have another one coming up on May 11th. And as part of that, we were already members of Eventective, which is a website that lists venues. We get quite a few inquiries for weddings and for other events through that website that I check in with daily. And then I come from the wedding industry. I'm a floral designer, and I've been part of the Spokane Weddings and Events organization for a few years now. And after starting here, we joined that as a venue. We have now had at least 2 events at the library that have come from that organization getting to know the library as a venue. One of them happened just on Saturday at the Hive. We had a networking meeting at the library at Central last month, and I gave tours to the team so they could see the building. There was about 40 people in attendance learning about it. From that, we have also started to work on a preferred vendors list and now have 2 caterers who are familiar with the library and have done some big events at the library, know our space, know our rules. So I'm working on building that out more. I also plan on having us host a meeting at the Hive for that organization in the near future so that they can see that facility as well. So it's this particular couple, when they got married, they were so enthusiastic about the library, and they've posted it everywhere, and they've left reviews on Google and various other places. They both work in social services and really told me, and I think also Samantha, that they were going to spend their money on a venue. They wanted to go towards a venue that helps the community. And they even had that as part of their wedding speech during the wedding, which I thought was really nice. So she sent me these pictures from her photographer. And it was really fun to just see their love of the library. So looking forward, these are some of the things I'm working on. The pictures there on the right was my favorite event at the Hive so far. It was the VA's last roll call ceremony of remembrance. So it was a memorial service for veterans who have passed. And we had the bagpiper and the honor guard from Fairchild. And it was a very cool event, very moving event. And it was really fun to have the bagpipes resonating through the hallways and also out in the courtyard patio. And people from Libby Center across the street could hear it, which was really fun. And they are actually, they enjoyed using the space so much that they have already booked the next one, which is next month. So as I mentioned, one of the things I'm working on is coming up with the preferred vendors list, coming up with some more consistent rules for the spaces. For example, no bounce houses in our event rooms. We don't want our expensive equipment damaged. That's one that has come up a lot, strangely. So that rule has been added to our list of, nope, sorry. And Jason and I are working on coming up with, working on our fee schedule to make it more consistent and to make that, we're gonna measure all the spaces and figure out what really we can see fitting in each of the rooms, because almost everywhere you look at the room sizes, they list something different. So we are working on figuring out what is a practical and safe space within the fire code, but also in terms of practicality, for how many people can fit in the spaces. Still working with the CXMs on whatever they need help with in regards to the rooms. And also continue to get more information out there about how many different things can actually happen at the library. It's really quite a lot of fun to see people discover that. Some of the events coming up, we have the Spokane Valley Fire Department is super excited to have their Christmas party this coming December. They booked it in January, came out and toured it in November. So that's already been planned out for the hall. We have a number of graduation ceremonies happening in the libraries for different organizations. Like I said, we have a wedding coming up, and we have the mayor out on a regular basis. The hall calls me like at least twice a week to schedule things. So it's been great to have the mayor and the council out for a number of activities, and lots of private things like birthday parties, baby showers, bridal showers. Today at the Hive, we had 30 kids come for their teacher's baby shower. I'd never seen that before, but that was really loud and really fun. And so that's what I do. Any questions?
I'm curious if there's a revenue figure about how much we've kind of brought in since implementing the commercial rates.
That's
That I don't have, is Nicole still will let you know?
I can help with that, just a moment.
Not to put you on the spot.
No, it's all good. That's what I'm here for.
To give you an idea, a wedding at Central is $3,000. And that gives them 4 hours of event time, an hour of setup and an hour of cleanup. So a 6-hour block total. If they want to expand beyond that, it's an additional 150 per hour. Smaller events, the event rooms like this one for a nonprofit would go for $100 for the same time frame and $250 for commercial organizations. The only time we have rates that aren't in those blocks, if we have an organization that's just starting out, like for example, the Bright Comet Theater players have put on a show last year and this year, and in their case, we charge them a set fee for the guard that has to be there every night, and then 10% of their revenue.
So year to date, as of March, so that doesn't include anything in April, we've earned $8,225. But in comparison, last year, I think it was around the scope of around 10,000, maybe 11,000. So Kara is doing a lot of hard work. That's for sure.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions, Kara?
Is there anyone you say no to?
Yes.
Okay.
No prom. We don't have prom at the library because that's just no.
Yeah.
I've had several people ask about proms, and I've referred them to venues that I know personally from being in the wedding industry.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, this is Kira's recommendation, not the library's recommendation. I have said no to anything that involves bringing pets, insects, snakes, etc., because we don't allow animals at the library unless they are fully trained service animals. I had one really weird request a couple of months ago where in the request form, they include a whole bunch of what they were attempting to make legalese. My husband's a lawyer. It was definitely not actual legal language.
Yeah.
But that's what they were trying to make it sound like. And I denied it and told them if they wanted to send back the request without trying to make the library responsible for their stuff, that I would be happy to approve it. They went somewhere else. But I try to approve as many as I can, and the vast majority of events that I approve are free events, and people are really excited to learn that they can have this thing at the library. Like they thought they'd have to pay for something.
Yeah.
But most of them fall under the free use of the library category. The only time I've had pushback on fees are when people were misusing the space and charging, and all of a sudden they got caught.
Yeah.
And then they didn't want to pay, and they all think that their particular event is the most important thing in the world and that we should let it be there for free.
Yeah.
We don't. So it's, yes, I say no. I fortunately don't have to say that no that often.
Yeah.
It's really fun to say yes. But if it doesn't fit with our mission or doesn't fit with our policies, then I say no.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Kira. Okay, Now, the next agenda item we have is the election of officers. Andrew?
All right,
do that?
per our bylaws, April is when we do this. So we are looking to elect a chair and a vice chair. Currently, Gary is the vice chair. Laura, you've done your time, 2 years. Thank you. So Gary would be up next and he's not here, so it's perfect. And Shelby would be next in line for vice chair, based on tenure. So, do with that as you may.
And those are the only two offices we need to.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well. I'd entertain a motion to nominate those two.
I move to nominate Gary for chair and Shelby for vice chair.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. Okay, and then the next is a Friends liaison.
So, currently, Danny is Friends Liaison. If you wanted to continue on with that.
How would we continue? Yeah.
So we would just need a motion to make that so.
Move to select Danny to remain as the liaison for the Friends. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. And then we have the Library Foundation liaison. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over finance.
So Finance Committee, we're looking for 2 trustees to serve on this committee. It's gonna be an interesting year. So buckle up if you're on this committee. Typically, I think we would normally have a chair that would be on this committee, so looking for an additional member to serve with Gary if the board thinks that's appropriate.
Well, I'd be happy to do it unless you want somebody to like do it. Okay, I'm happy.
Okay.
All right, so we need a motion to approve Gary as chair of the finance committee and the other member. That'd be,
I move to have Gary be the chair of the finance committee with Laura, the other member. Second.
all right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. And now we're ready for the foundation liaison.
Shelby is currently the liaison for Foundation and has indicated they'd be willing to serve another year. Get a motion for that, if anyone wants to argue. As well.
Move to have Shelby continue as liaison to the Spokane Public Library Foundation. A second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, motion passes. And then finally, we have the director evaluation.
It's everyone's favorite. So we need 2 trustees to serve as the leads for the performance review committee. These people would work with Sam in getting that process. Work with Sam with the hopes of having the review completed by December. Everyone always argues. You need to be on this committee. Sorry.
But we need somebody else.
Mary, did you want to serve on that? That's it.
I will.
Thank you.
It's not hard.
It's pretty terrible, huh?
Yeah. All right, excellent. So we need a motion to approve myself. I'm mine. That's the evaluation.
Motion to approve Laura and Mari as the performance review committee.
I second.
Oh, yeah. Wait, all right, so moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes. Okay, do we have any additional agenda items or changes to the agenda at this point? I think so. All right, and is there anybody signed up for public comment? sheet for us? Okay, anybody online?
No comments online.
Okay, excellent. So our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, May 21st at the Shadow Park Library. And we're not having any executive session this meeting, so with that, we can adjourn. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you.